The program itself will involve questions and answers by employees and civic leaders. It is an idea of station WJNO, and we are most happy to cooperate with them in this phase of their community service.
1952 was also the year for a catchy political slogan, namely, I Like Ike.
Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends that have heaped upon me such honors, it is more than a nomination I accept today. It is a dedication to the shining promise of tomorrow. As together we face that tomorrow, I beseech the prayers of all our people and the blessing and guidance of Almighty God. Thank you.
Musically, these tunes went to the top.
See the pyramids along the Nile. Watch the sunrise on a tropic isle. Just remember, darling, all the while you belong to me.
Watch me, I watch you, and everything goes crazy.
The wheel of fortune.
1953 saw Dwight D. Eisenhower become President of the United States.
At such a time in history, we who are free must proclaim anew our faith. This faith is the abiding creed of our fathers. It is our faith in the deathless dignity of man, governed by eternal moral and natural laws. This faith defines our full view of life. It establishes beyond debate those gifts of the Creator that are man's inalienable rights and that make all men equal in His sight.
1953 also saw the close of the Korean War.
This is a rather complicated armistice signing, like the whole process here at Panmunjom. In fact, the liaison officers had an argument just a minute before the signing began. After these chief delegates have signed the 18 copies, 3 in English, 3 in Korean, and 3 in Chinese, then these copies go back to the top military commanders on each side, to the Communists in North Korea and to General Mark Clark, who's scheduled to sign at his advanced headquarters in Munsan just 3 hours from now. But the armistice does take effect from this hour, and under its terms, in just 12 hours, all the shooting will be over. After 37 months, the Korean War will be ended. We'll have an armistice. Whether we'll have a peace is something else again, but that comes later.
Of course, you must remember, radio still wasn't perfect in 1953.
And here's a nice-looking record package in from New York. We ain't heard it yet. It looks like the one that's going to be a good one. It's featuring that Maurice French Chevalier and that Herman Guineagold in songs from Gidgee.
However, Gidgee, or Gigi, was a #1 tune in 53.
Gigi, am I a fool without a mind, or have I merely been too blind to realize?
Other tunes that hit the top in 53.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows.
I believe that you care.
Oh, my papa, to me he was so wonderful.
Come a little closer, make love to me.
Movie-wise, in 1954, the showing of films in CinemaScope was gaining in popularity, and exhibitors were put to the added expense of installing wide screens in their theaters to accommodate it. This was Marlon Brando's year. Besides winning an Oscar and being picked by the New York Film Critics as the best male actor for his performance in On the Waterfront, he also appeared in The Wild One, and even Maurice Saint, a newcomer, was also cited for her performance in On the Waterfront. One of the big tunes that year, The High and the Mighty, came from the motion picture of the same name. 1955 found WJNO playing host to Lowell Thomas.
And now, here's Lowell Thomas and the news.
Good evening, everybody. The President of the United States answers the top man in the Kremlin. Indiana Republicans agree to give that state's support to President Eisenhower at the GOP convention next year. The land of the elephant wants help against the Chinese dragon. The ex-king, who is now premier, Prince Norodom Sihanouk, says that his party is unanimously in favor of accepting American aid before Cambodia finds herself disarmed and completely surrounded by Reds. And tonight there is no traffic on the streets of Anchorage, the largest city of Alaska. Only snowplows moving. Only the great Anchorage Air Base has been cleared so far. The situation in the city itself so unusual, the mayor has asked all citizens, civilians, to stay at home. Seems unusual, Henry, to worry about only 17 inches of snow, but Anchorage is in southwest Alaska where the winters are not at all severe. Not as cold as it has been recently where you are in New York. From WJNO, the Palm Beaches, so long until tomorrow.
The year is now 1956. This year would see President Eisenhower suffer a heart attack, but his rapid recovery would end the talk that he might not run again. He resolved to accept renomination because he still had measures to carry. He hoped to confirm the ascendancy of his liberal New Republicanism. His international prestige seemed useful, and he agreed with party leaders that he was the only Republican who could assuredly win. Immediately after Eisenhower's re-election, the government had to face the repercussions of the Israeli Anglo-French attacks on Egypt. For this unhappy course of events, the United States had some responsibilities to accept. The State Department disliked the semi-dictatorial regime of Abdel Nasser in Egypt and hoped for his eventual downfall. In mid-July of 1956, Washington canceled a $70 million loan to help pay for a high dam at Aswan on the Nile. All through the decade, Negro citizens were showing a new militancy in their battle for civil rights and social justice. In 1955, Negroes had begun boycotting public buses in Montgomery, Alabama, because the bus lines segregated the races in compliance with the state law and the city ordinances. Bus lines wilted under the loss of revenue. The boycott continued stubbornly throughout 1956, though white authorities attempted to stop it by arrest and jail sentences, and though one judge enjoined the Negroes from using carpools for transit. Finally, in November of 1956, the Supreme Court held the segregation laws invalid as violations of the 14th Amendment, thus once more rejecting the doctrine of equal but separate facilities. From Flicksville, 1956 saw two films being released that are probably destined to break the all-time box office record now held by Gone with the Wind. They are Michael Todd's Around the World in 80 Days and Cecil B. DeMille's remake of The Ten Commandments. The Todd film has already grossed over $33 million and has won many Academy Awards and other honors. May 5th, 1961, officially through the United States in the space race with the launching of the first manned flight into space by astronaut Alan B. Shepard, Jr.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
You don't hear the sound yet, but we see the flame. Very slowly, majestically, the red stone rises into the sky. It's man invisible inside the capsule, and a flame clearly seen, like a beaming light, like a searchlight, focused down at the earth again, as that thin, slim pencil goes slowly, slowly up into the clear sky, and now the sound grows louder and louder and swallows everything. okay is the latest word on the loudspeaker. The rocket went through a white cloud. It took a bit of time for the sound to reach us back here. We could see the sight first.
Loud cheer has just gone up from the crew, the ship standing aboard. He's walking to the rear of the helicopter. He was supposed to have walked immediately over to a special ladder, taking him down to the debriefing room, but instead he has gone over to the space capsule, is standing up on the platform that is resting on, has reached inside of the space capsule to get his space helmet. He's removed the space helmet. He's looking around inside for something else. Now jumped down off the capsule. Seems to be in good spirit, walking normally, seems to be in very good condition. He's walked over now to the port side of the flight deck, asked the doctor to go ahead of him. There's a special railing there to be sure he wouldn't blow over. Quickly jumped down a ladder of about 6 or 7 steps, and he's walking along a catwalk now very casually to the Admiral's in-court cabin where the two doctors will conduct their briefing.
By 1962, the United States was no longer content with going up and coming down, but rather decided on a trip around.
Roger, Bermuda, stand by. This is Friendship 7, fuel 103, 101, oxygen 78, 100. All voltages above 25, amps 26. Roger, still reading you loud and clear. Flight path is very good. Pitch -3. Roger.
Around the world, in Moscow, the reception was this.
The Russians moved with unusual speed tonight, unusual for them, that is, in announcing Glenn's successful launching at 6:25 p.m. Moscow time on the early evening television news program. The next to the last item on a 15-minute news program, a very short one, said only that Glenn had been launched and that he was expected to make 3 orbits of the Earth. No further details, however.
In 1963, President Kennedy, faced with widespread hostility to his civil rights and welfare programs in the South, planned in November of '63 to take his case to the people. He selected Florida and Texas as his key states. Florida had voted Republican in 1960, and only the presence of Lyndon Johnson on the ticket had held Texas in the Democratic column. The president's combination of high spirits and deep seriousness made a tremendous impression in Florida.
Today, there are Negroes unemployed 2 or 3 times as many compared to whites. Inadequate education, moving into the large cities, unable to find work, young people particularly out of work, without hope, denied equal rights, denied the opportunity to eat at a restaurant or a lunch counter or go to a movie theater, denied the right to a decent education, denied almost today the right to attend a state university even though qualified. Seems to me that these are matters which concern us all, not merely presidents or congressmen or governors, but every citizen of the United States.
Then on Friday, November 22nd, 1963, he flew to Dallas.
I have come to Texas today to salute an outstanding group of pioneers. The man who manned the Brooks Air Force Base School of Aerospace Medicine and the Aerospace Medical Center.
Next month, when the United States of America fires the largest booster in the history of the world into space for the first time, giving us the lead, fires the largest payload into space, giving us the lead. It will be the largest payroll, too. Who should know that better than Houston? In 1990, the age of space will be entering its second phase, and our hopes in it to preserve the peace, to make sure that in this great new sea, as on Earth, the United States is second to none.